Welcome to the Wolfkeeper, a show that's just about everything that you can maybe think about, everything that you can feel that's inside of your heart. What I need for you to do right now is spend the next hour relaxing. Just stop your day before you go into 12 o'clock. And I just want y'all to close your minds, open your hearts, and relax and go on this journey with me. It's a beautiful place that you're about to go, because I want to make you feel, I want to just open you up and think about some things you never really thought about. Right now, the Wolfkeeper. Come on. Good morning, y'all. Come on. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Get ready. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Your boy, Torriano Sanzoni. Yeah. Chanelli Nell. My boy Tyrone Scott somewhere rocking the Doogie Dogs. Denzel's in his house. Shacky Shack. And for all the people out there that love us, we love you back. Thank you all. Get ready for an amazing show with the Wolfkeeper. Get ready. Here we go. Good morning, it's Torriano Sanzoni, the Wolfkeeper. Yeah, I'm feeling amazing. It's Mondays, Make Monday Fridays with my co-host, partner in crime, Chanelli Nelly. Are you there?
Good morning.
And special guest, live and direct from the East Coast, from Bow Wow Labs. Ooh, we've been talking on the weekend, the infamous, world famous Johnna Devereaux.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Johnna Devereaux.
I love how you say it.
Was that proper?
It was absolutely proper.
Johnna Devereaux. I'm so excited to talk to you.
All my intros.
I like Johnna Devereaux. That's so Hollywood, and it's so New Orleans. I like all my cousins from New Orleans, so that's like Devereaux's like everywhere. Like everyone's a Devereaux. That's so French Creole. So today on Mondays, Chanel, know what we're gonna do?
What we're doing?
We're going to make Johnna Devereaux an honorary Creole. Today you get to say that you're Creole all day today. You can use your Creole powers. So that means you can make gumbo today, jambalaya,
and you can drink a lot today.
All of that actually sounds good too.
Yeah, I'm actually a better eater of all of those things than a maker. But, but I can
Definitely take some time, right?
Yes.
So you are amazing because like you are one of the first people that I know. I'm 20 years. I'm not even making this up, and I know the other person. Shout out to Joe Shear of Avenger's Pet Food. He's the only other person in 20 years that ever talked about dogs and chewing. Ever. 20 years. Like I remember the day I sat in his living room. He's just a nerd. He knows we say that about his wife. Even says Holly Shear. Peace out to Holly Shear and the whole Avenger family. But he sat there. We had a whole conversation. It actually wasn't even a conversation. It was a seminar because he was breaking down chewing for me, and I just sat there like, wow, I never like how does one person know so much about chewing? Until you and I talked on the phone, you also talked about chewing, and Bow Wow Labs has invented a device to make pets safe from. They love bully sticks are like crack for dogs. Like they see bully sticks. Like I know people have gotten bitten over bully sticks. Dogs have like getting dog fights over bully sticks. Bully sticks are like Reaganomics in the 80s, right? I mean, that's a bad.
I need to get Bentley one. He's
I'm
never
going too
had
far.
one.
I'm going too far by calling it the drug of the doggy world. But dogs go nuts over bully sticks. And your company, can you just tell us about Bow Wow Labs, who you are, and bully sticks?
Yeah, thank you. So Bow Wow Labs is this great innovative company that started in 2018 with this amazing device, safety device, because the founder of our company was giving bully sticks to his dogs for the benefits of chewing. And when you are dealing with bully sticks, which I'll hold one up for you, dogs love them so much and they're tactile and they can use their paws and hold them and navigate them. But when they get to that last 1 inch, they no longer have the ability to put their paws on it. So they just put it in their mouth. And I call it get in my belly syndrome. I know my dogs have it. That when it gets to that last bit, they want it to just get in their belly, so they swallow it.
Oh, no.
And so what ends up happening is you have a potential for a choking hazard or even worse, intestinal obstruction. So what the Bully Buddy safety device does that we invented holds the bully stick in place. So this is the Bully Buddy that I'm holding here. It's a bone-shaped device that has a screw, and you put the bully stick in the center of it, twist it.
Wow.
And then I can't pull it out, your dog can't pull it out, and they, more importantly, can't get down to that last 1 inch and choke on it. So that's how the company started. And then we started realizing that there's a lot of bully sticks on the market, but they're not all created equal. And so granted, they all come from the same place. If anyone isn't aware, they're the genitalia of cows, of steers and bulls.
I never.
Yep. So they're a single ingredient treat. High in protein, low in fat, so they're really good for your dog. But some of these animals are raised on, they're given hormones to make them grow, or they're fed, corn-fed meal, which is high in GMOs. So we have a bully stick that is from hormone-free cows that are grass-fed. So you're not getting all of the toxins that you might get from other bully sticks. And on top of it, we call them safe fit bully sticks because we actually hand select all of our bully sticks to make certain that they fit the corresponding size Bully Buddy. So we really try to set you and your dogs up for success to make certain that it works every time the right way. I
love that name, Bully Buddy. Like, that's so cute. A Bully Buddy. Who came up with that name?
Not me. One of the original founders came up with it. I'm not sure if it was our CEO or the inventor, but it's a great name.
So initially it's like a snack or a treat.
It's actually
just looking at me like, what?
Bentley is going to love a bully stick. So it's actually what we consider a long-term chew. So a long-term chew is generally going to be anything that takes your dog more than 10 minutes to chew and eat. The reason why long-term chews, why Toriano and I were talking about how important they are, is because when a dog is chewing for a certain period of time, you're getting some dental benefits from it. It's scraping the biofilm from the teeth. It's encouraging saliva, which is rich in lysosome, which is an antibacterial that is found in the saliva. It also is the act of chewing encourages serotonin and dopamine release. So it helps encourage and support a healthy mental state. It provides calmness. It provides mental stimulation, which makes them tired. As Toriano can attest, give a dog a 10-minute job and it's going to be tired faster than if you take it for a 4-mile walk. So that doesn't mean you exchange one for exercise. Exercise is obviously a hugely important part of the canine lifestyle, but long-term
it just stimulates the brain.
Valuable. Yeah, it's very valuable to their routine.
Johnna, and I know I can nerd out with you all day, and some people that are into dogs and chewing can nerd out all day. Can you just break some of those terms down? Those what you just mentioned with the dopamine,
Yes.
like what that means for people that might not know.
So dopamine and serotonin are some neurotransmitters that basically are in our brain that make us feel happy. So it's kind of like when you're stressed out and you chew gum, you suddenly feel this sudden sense of a more calm state. It's because the act of chewing is actually helping your brain release chemicals that are making you in a calmer state. And
I always mention to people too that dogs need to crush. You need to use your teeth for what they were designed for, and that they need to tear, they need to crumble, they need to crush with the molars. Because the thing you and I were talking about, my puppies, whether it's my Frenchie, a brand new Frenchie puppy or a Rottweiler puppy, we have them off mother's milk, probably 50% by the time they're 3 weeks old, because they're crushing with their teeth. And by the time they're 5 weeks old, they're for sure devouring an entire chicken quarter. And when people come get my puppies at 8 weeks old, they're just something that's very different from any puppy they've seen before, but they've been developing their motor skills. They use their paws to hold, they use their heads to pull, use their teeth to tear, to rip, to crush.
Right.
And then you can just see their eyes sit different. And this is one of my secret sauces with dog training, because I go to the butcher and I let the dogs crush. So like right now, I have 15 dogs in my school. There's no barking because they have food. I look at food as a job, and so do you.
Yes.
With Bully Labs, though, how did you guys? Someone had to really be nerding out to say, I love inventions, because you actually can you just pick that up again? That is so cool. So someone said, hey, I'm going to actually design this object to stick this in there, because that's so huge. And I hate to say it, but so last week we were talking to Denise Fleck about CPR and pet safety, and the number one thing we were saying that dogs experience that require safety is require help in CPR, not CPR, but pet 911, if you will, is choking.
Right. Doing a finger sweep is a very important thing with dogs.
Yeah. So how long has this been around? How did people get to the point? How did someone get to the point of saying, I'm going to draw this out? Did someone's dog die? Did someone what was the big motivation?
So the inventor had given it to his dog, and his dog did choke on it. And so he went home thinking there has to be a better way, because he knew all the benefits of. He knew all the benefits of. No, he didn't. He actually, the dog survived, luckily. So he was trying to determine, how can I continue to give long-term chews to my dog because of all the various benefits. And really what he started doing was looking around on the internet, and the only thing that he could find was to use vice grips and to have vice grips attached to the end. Well, you and I both know you don't want vice grips anywhere near your dog's mouth, because if they chew on that the wrong way, even though their teeth are made to tear, shred, rip, and crush bone, you put it on metal, you're breaking teeth, right? So he had this idea that there has to be another way. So how can I create a vice grip-like device that functions in that capacity without putting a dog in a different type of jeopardy? And so that's how he, this is actually our second design. The first design of the Bully Buddy was a little bit differently shaped. It was more of a, it kind of was bulbous and stood upright, and you twisted the top, but we found that it didn't really work for dogs over a certain weight size, that they were able to navigate it differently. So this is our second design, the second set of plans that we came out with, and this is the one that has been doing phenomenally well. And to answer your point, or the question you had before, is for most people, when a dog had an issue where they swallowed this or choked it, or where they had that 24 to 48 hour period where they were waiting, hoping that their dog pooped out the piece that they swallowed, that was pretty much a point where they realized, I'm never giving my dog a bully stick again, because they didn't have a safe way to provide a long-term chew. So the Bully Buddy really has brought bully sticks back to a lot of dogs, which is, great for all the reasons we already identified. Besides the fact that it also really works their jaw muscles. And I think a lot of people don't think about the jaw muscles, and it is a muscle that needs to be exercised.
Absolutely.
So
that's a real thing. Can you go back earlier? Because I don't think it's common. I mean, I know it, you know it, we're dog nerds, but I don't think it's common knowledge for everyone out there to know. Like Chanel, have you heard of bully sticks before prior to this?
I haven't, and I'm so interested because I'm on a constant hunt for looking for treats that will last, because Bentley, like, he gets his treat, he runs off to his little spot, and then like a minute later he's back, like, okay, where's the next one?
So you're going to love these, Chanel, because they can actually last some dogs between 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so we have what I was saying, the Safe Fit Bully Sticks. I'm going to take some out so you guys can actually see them.
Okay.
They come in 6-inch or 12-inch lengths. So I only happen to have 6-inch lengths here, but these would be considered our thick one. So these would be really good for dogs that are like 45 pounds or larger.
Okay.
It sounds like you have a smaller dog. Some people might want a thinner one, but they are, I don't know any other nicer way of saying this, but they are the genitalia of bulls and steers. So,
and that's a fun fact. I knew it was a part of the cattle family somewhere, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now, is that true for all of them? That's where they're coming from?
Yeah, it's the muscle. Yes. So, as far as I feel, at least they're using every bit of the animal, right?
How did they figure that out?
How did they figure that out?
That's
I don't
funny.
know. I have a feeling that they probably somewhere, 50, 60 years ago, they were probably watching a dog that was probably at a farm, and they were probably just throwing bits, because that's kind of how things used to be today, right? Farmers would just throw odd parts to their dogs, and someone probably was like, wow, that's taken a really long time for them to eat.
I could see that.
And that was that.
I could see.
Good morning.
Oh, is that Tammy Yammy? Tammy Yammy is here. She wants to ask a question.
Good morning. I have what is your name?
Johnna.
John. I have a question regarding the bully sticks, because I used to get them for my big breed. I had a Press Canario, so a Spanish Mastiff, and I would get those in the antlers for him, because that was the only thing. And the goat nuts would last him a while too. The rubber. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Yes.
But I haven't seen those adapters that you're talking about. Do they sell them in the pet store?
So this is the exciting thing. Right now, Bow Wow Labs has been selling them direct to consumers on our website only and through our Easy Ship package. But starting August 3rd, we actually just opened up our independent retail program. So one of the things that we learned from COVID is that, as a small business, we want to support other small local businesses, and how better to do that than to get into small independent retail stores and have them have this resource. So we opened up our program to retailers. We have a few signed up. So I would encourage you, if you have a local store, like a mom and pop shop, or, maybe it's not a mom and pop, but a small
Someone
business owned. Yeah, go tell them to look at Bow Wow Labs and sign up with us, and they can carry them in the store. They can carry our Safe Fit Bully Sticks, which I don't know if you heard me say, but we actually hand pick them and make certain that they're right sized for whatever size Bully Buddy you need. We have 6 sizes that range for a dog up to 15 pounds to a dog over 150 pounds. So we really want to set our dogs up to succeed. I mean, that's what it's all about, right, Toriano? So whatever we can do.
Because in the past when it would get small, I would just get rid of it because I was afraid that my dog would swallow it.
Right.
However, the dog that I have now, he's a Frenchie. He's actually more destructive than my big Mastiff. Like even with antlers, like I could give my big breed an antler and it would last him for weeks because I would just give it to him as a treat to exercise the jaw muscles.
Mm-hmm.
But my Frenchie could demolish an antler in not completely demolish it, but he would gnaw it down to half the size in like a week. And I'm thinking, okay, his teeth are like half the size of my big breed dog, but he is way more destructive. With chewing.
That's an aggressive chewer.
Yes,
short man complex, Tammy.
And so that's what made me hesitant about even using those for him because they're not sturdy like how if you were using an antler,
Well, they're different, obviously. So an antler is going to be chock full of calcium and trace minerals, and it comes obviously from the horn of the or the elk or whatnot. And this is going to be more muscle meat, so it's it's a little bit more fibrous. So it what I would recommend you do if he's that aggressive is get like a 12-inch thick or jumbo stick and give him a little bit at a time and take it away in half-an-hour increments, because technically, I guess when a dog has been chewing on something for over 45 minutes, are they getting the same benefit? Or are they just trying to just eat now, right?
I never let them have it more than like 20 minutes with either of my dogs. Yeah. But that's why I was just concerned because I didn't know if that would be something that, because I haven't seen anything that would keep them from being able to, just take the rest of it and swallow it.
Yes.
And I was actually concerned that, that would be something that he would, because from the time he was 6 weeks old, he was chewing on stuff. Like I had to baby proof my house when he was 6 weeks old, and I never had to do it with my, Mastiff because he didn't even dream of chewing on the stuff that my puppy, chews on, and it's a destructive kind of chewing. So I never even thought of using the bully sticks for him. But that's why I was just wondering if that's something that you can use it for all size dogs. And
absolutely. It depends on what size you want to buy, but they're highly recommended for puppies, especially when they're going through their teething phase. Well,
he's 10 months old now, so he's done with teething, but
he's still going through his growing. I call it the stress, right? The stress that's different than ours, but the stresses that go along with developing. So it makes sense that he's an aggressive chewer. I don't know, Toriano, you tell me, but I find that most dogs until they're about 24 months, they're still kind of considered, they're still puppies in my eyes.
Yeah,
and they still show those same destructive behaviors. So giving them something constructive to chew on that helps to calm their mind and engages their natural instinct to chew is going to really help to tire them, to calm them, and to fulfill, this instinctual desire, really, to let them be dogs.
And Johnna, you made me think of something else too that I always tell clients, and that's, let this be like their paycheck, because dogs, most dogs just go completely bonkers over bully sticks. Seriously, I've seen people, or I've had clients come to me not being even getting one out of their dog's mouth. So I tell people, do a little obedience, sit here, down there, stay there, and then boom, let that be their high reward. After the dog has accomplished a great task, it can really. I'm excited to get some of these to use as training items because, especially if it's a brand new, someone that has just gotten a shelter dog, it's a lot easier taking that entire blue item away from them versus sticking your hand down there. Because the best dogs sometimes have been their owners, especially if it's something that they're really into, because you've activated their food drive. So that would be great for trainers too to practice with dogs that have food dominance. Because that's a lot easier to get out of their mouths. But I don't like letting a dog have any toy item for over 10, 15 minutes because it loses its value, and especially for something that they're way into. I want to back up 1 second though, for any pet professionals that are out there, because we definitely want to support and carry that at Wolfkeeper University. So would they just go to your website? Is there someone they have to specifically talk to? If they want, is the affiliate program, how does that work?
There would be an affiliate program. If you have a brick and mortar store, then you could carry the products in store, but otherwise it would be an affiliate program for anyone else. So yes, you can reach out to our customer service and just inquire. And I'm sure we would love to have you on as an affiliate.
Oh, we just have made ourselves the exclusive distributor for the entire Midwest. We'll be contacting.
I don't have that authority to say okay to that.
You just gave me the go ahead.
No, I don't have the authority. Don't get me in trouble.
Hold on now. That's not cool. I just made you honorary Creole for the day. Chanel was a witness, and now you're holding back on me? That's not possible.
I'll put in a good word, but that's not my job.
So we have to dive deeper into who Johnna Devereaux is. I love saying that name.
Okay.
Johnna Devereaux. So outside of Bow Wow Labs, you are also just pet nutritionist expert. I mean, you and I were talking about, you can't out-train a bad diet, and that a lot of people, back when I was growing up, they were just, a strong heart, mighty dog, and and you had a little in Caesars with a little Westie on it. I mean, you didn't have a lot of dog food options. Now, I swear, every time I go there, I saw something yesterday, a bag I'd never even heard of before. It was called Montana, and it had like this cool, crazy. There's so many dog foods out there now, and dog food supplements and vitamins, and just you can go nuts just trying to pick a food that's out for the dog. Let's talk about pet nutrition, why it's important to feed your dog a great quality food, because sometimes what I hear all the time is, I don't even eat like that myself, so why am I going to go spend, $100, $200? People think I'm joking when I say I know people that spend close to over $1,000 per month on one dog for their diets. I mean, you can get as elaborate as you want, but can you speak to the importance of pet nutrition?
Yeah, I mean, technically, the way I respond when someone asks that question to me, right, or makes the comment to me, I feel like the human body has adapted to a lot of I'm going to call them toxins for lack of a better word, but the toxins, the sugar, the enriched foods that we've been putting in that have had all the nutrients taken out of them, our bodies have adapted in a way with an asterisk, because we're sicker than ever, we're fatter than ever. So I don't know that we've really adapted, but we've
conformed. Our bodies
yes,
conformed.
Yes, thank you, Chanel. Yes.
No,
the canine Tammy, thank you. The canine body is so beautifully designed, and we're trying to project how we eat onto them. And here's the problem with that. We are omnivores and they're carnivores. And so at a base level, yes, we can feed them better because everything that goes into their mouth matters, but how we feed them really is what's most important. They're not supposed to eat like we do. Decades back, what we were doing is, when we were less aware, we were extrapolating, we were looking at what humans eat and basically saying that's what our dog should eat. And what we're realizing now, as we get more savvy and as we start looking more and doing more field tests, is that dogs' bodies respond much differently, and they are also becoming more sick because we are not feeding them properly. So what I'm finding, and I will tell you, even as a clinical pet nutritionist, I look at food bags. I have a hard time without doing my due diligence, without calling and doing a lot of research on the ingredients that are in the foods, because there's just not enough transparency. So it's hard for a pet parent to really say, I'm paying $80 for a bag of dog food a month, which is a lot of money to a lot of people. Why is that not good enough? And so as a nutritionist, what I always say is feed as best you can and then improve it a little bit. As much as you can with fresh food. Not a huge fan of dry kibble. It's what most people, can afford and what most people feed their dogs. So if you're looking at the kibble, you really have to look at the ingredient panel on the back of the bag. Look and see where the first 5 to 7 ingredients, where are they coming from? Are they coming from animal meat? Are they coming from beans? Are they coming from rice? Are they coming from corn? If it's not coming from animal meat, then you're not really feeding a carnivore body the way it should be fed. So there's so much confusion, right? And there's so much money to be made. And I hate to say that, but there's so much money to be made in the pet world, the pet industry, that I feel like some of these companies, and I don't know any of the ones that you just spoke to, Toriano, but some of them are just, jumping on the train to try to make money, and the dog's health isn't necessarily the primary factor.
And it makes me sad. I mean, just to add to it, and I'll be the bad guy and say it. I mean, it's like Nuka and Iams. It's the same company. It's just different bags. And one day I even called them. I called them up and asked, like, "What's the difference?" The woman was like, "Who are you? Get off my!" Like, literally, I got transferred 3 times once I realized I was having fun with them. Like, well, what's really the difference between Nuka and Iams? And it's really not. It's just a price difference. You're paying for the color of the bag. You're paying for the shape of the food. There's not a lot of nutrients in the food. If you see, I mean, that's the thing too. People don't realize that one of my buddies he makes his own dog food, like his own kibble. But I mean, there's whole companies out there sub companies that just buy carcasses all day. Like, just there's different places. I never thought about it. Someone told me that, but there's carcasses that come from all around the world. I mean, there's vets that have euthanized animals that they don't dispose of it properly. There's roadkill. There's farm animals. I mean,
yeah, they call it the 4 Ds. So the 4 Ds are dead, diseased, dying, or disabled. And in the 4 Ds, meat from any of those 4 can actually be considered suitable for pet food.
Right. Because you remember the big dog food recall. What was that, in 2008? When they were finding phenobarbital in the dog food, which is the cocktail they use to euthanize dogs.
Right.
So it was literally dogs being fed dogs and other animals. And I truly believe, I mean, they're in cahoots with the veterinarian industry, because a lot of the vets out there, their nutritional program is only 2 to 3 weeks long. I mean, some vets go on further, but sometimes you go to the vet and then they just will give you science diet prescription version to help your dog with this upset stomach. But then your dog's been eating this inferior dog food, and we know now. We didn't always know that. I mean, our dogs grew up on table food. I mean, my great grandmother, she would add maybe a can of the Strong Heart. Remember the big dumb can with the German Shepherd on it. She'd add that, mix it with some, and then maybe some kibble.
That's how Bentley eats. And I just feel like the culture of pets, sorry, Toriano, not to cut you off, like the culture of pets is changing. And like Johnna said, there's money to be made because now we're treating our pets as like family. Like this is legit like our kid. My mom would go up, and I'm guilty of it too. Like if we're getting us something to eat at the restaurant, Bentley's gonna get him something to eat too, like a kid's meal. Literally, we went to dinner and Bentley came with us, and they're like, "Yeah, can we get like the chicken tenders kids meal?" And they're like looking like, "Well, for who?" And it's for Bentley. So
can I interject something? Mm-hmm. I do have friends as well that feed their dogs like table food or like human food, but I think a lot of times people don't realize for animals, because when we have food prepared for humans, they are also incorporated with a lot of seasonings and things that dogs should not have. Like I mix human food with my dog's food. Like I'll buy ground turkey, ground beef, and chicken, and I mix that with, but it's not seasoned or have anything.
Yeah, that's why I said because I feel bad when I give him some of this stuff. I mean, I don't season any of it, but he won't eat any of his dog food without like something mixed to it. Like if I give him
so you can, that's. I mean, my dog is like that. He's so used to food. I mean, I've never given my dogs just dry kibble anyway, because that would be like a human just eating cereal every day. Who wants to just, dry cereal every day? So I change up his food, but it's still just prepared with nothing added to it, because a lot of times people don't realize like they're increasing the amount of sodium that their dog is getting, which is not good for them, the amount of sugar that they're actually getting, because even humans don't realize how much sugar they're getting just in stuff, not added sugar, but just the amount of glucose that's in foods that are naturally prepared. So
and I have to say, I applaud you, Tammy, for taking the initiative to add some fresh food to your dog's bowl, because that's, what I had mentioned before, for the people that may not be able to afford or are smart enough to understand that they don't have the know-how to make a complete and balanced home cooked diet or a complete and balanced raw diet, that if you can add fresh food to your dog's bowl, and when I say fresh food, it is, unseasoned, no spices, some green beans, if you wanted to, some cucumbers, low starch veggies, some high antioxidant
carrots,
high antioxidant fruits, some meat.
And what if your dog doesn't eat any of that? Like he needs to take a vitamin or something.
Well, no, but you're talking about
if it's not meat, he will not eat it. Like he doesn't eat French fries.
He shouldn't eat French fries. He shouldn't eat French fries anyway.
That's a real dog.
Most dogs will eat anything.
No, Chanel, you have a real dog. You have a real dog.
Yes.
Like a carnivore. He knows he's a carnivore.
Yes.
Right. Like if it's not meat, I'm not even fooling
No,
with it.
Chanel, what you do is you just incorporate. See, I shred, like I'll take carrots and shred it up. It's mixed in with his food. I've even cut up apples, so it's not that they won't eat it. They don't even know
Tammy, Bentley needs to go to boot camp, because he will definitely spit all of that out.
Because you give him too much human food, so he doesn't even recognize
with the carrots and all of that.
As I told you before, you cannot feed Bentley Doritos. We're going through this.
Come on, Toriano, cut it out. We're not doing that.
So I think, and so what's really important when we're talking about fruits and veggies, just I want to interject here, is that you want to make certain that you break down the cell walls. Dogs lack the amylase enzyme in their saliva to actually start breaking down carbohydrates at the beginning of the digestive process, which begins in the mouth. So if you're feeding carrots, Tammy, shredding is fine, but you really want to break those cell walls down. So in a better way of doing it, I actually prefer to give raw foods. And when I say foods, I'm not talking just about meat. I'm talking about the fruits and the veggies. Just put them in a food processor, put them in a blender, put them if you have a juicer in a juicer, because that's going to keep all of the nutrients, all of the vitamins, all the minerals in its pure state, and deliver that to your dog in a way that their body can actually benefit from those nutrients. If you don't break down the cell walls, then really the easiest way of thinking about it is you're just giving it to them as a filler. Like if you give your dog a green bean, you're just making their stomach full. They're not getting any real nutrients out of it. So that would be a recommendation that I would give to you, Demi, is just throw it into a blender or something like that.
I did just find that out yesterday too, when I took this class for first aid for pets.
Perfect.
So I did find out yesterday that would be the best way, because the instructor, Denise, she was explaining how dogs don't initially process that. And they found that even when they were given antacids to dogs in the solid form, it was still in their stomach as whole chunks, and it looked like calcium, like bone in there, because the enzymes weren't breaking it down for them to extract the nutrients from it. So I did find out yesterday that the best way to do that would be to, actually blend it up. So
just break down the cell walls so that, because if you think about it in the wild, and this is when I'm thinking about canine nutrition, I always go back to basics. How would they be eating if they were on their own? So if they were catching the rabbit and they were eating the rabbit, they would be eating the pre-digested fruits and vegetables that rabbit would have eaten, right? So we just have to kind of think of it in that capacity whenever we add anything. And so if I can ask you one favor, Chanel, please don't give your dog anything fried.
I know.
No chicken tenders. It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything to set him up for health. I can assure you of that. And all it's going to really be doing is creating inflammation in his little body, which is, the start of so many types of dis-ease in the body, that if you can avoid it, please do.
Okay.
And I would go on to say too that
He doesn't get it often, but just like every now and then, I'm guilty of
No,
it.
But
Chanel,
he
don't
doesn't
give it
need
to
it.
him at all.
Yeah, but he doesn't need it. And so this is the one thing that I can say is that we associate food with love. And I know we do because I do too with my dog. So
right.
just think on that because dogs give us unconditional love. And so we really, that's one of the reasons why we spend so much time and take them with us and why they are family. Because in the world that we currently live in, to be able to come home to a dog that gives you unconditional love and waggy tails and licks and really you can do no wrong in their eyes, we want to give them something back. So if food is the way that you want to give them back, do it in a way that doesn't obviously make them gain weight, because obesity is another huge issue that's going to make, that has an onslaught of issues for canine health. But give them a different type of treat. So if you've identified that your dog likes, meat because he is a real dog, get an egg. Get an egg. If you can get if a neighbor has chickens, get an egg, and you can either, cook the egg white and leave the yolk raw. You can give it the whole egg raw if you want. So you can give him a treat in a way that is going to be in line with how his body should be eating. You can give him sardines. You can give, you can give things that will help his body be healthy rather than give him food that is going to do the opposite.
And can you speak upon my mentor? I mean, 20 years ago, it was introduced to me because what Marlene, God bless her soul, she's no longer with us, but her Malinois, she would feed them livestock. So she would purchase chickens from them. And then I did that with my American Bulldog when I was raising them. And the thing that I found that, the digestion of the fur, the beaks, the internal organs, they'd be full for maybe 2-3 days before you eat again, and the poop would be nice and solid and hard. But then, obviously it's kind of like the education with that, because some people aren't comfortable with, livestock and then maybe raw, prepackaged raw, high-end kibble. But can you talk about that? Because that's kind of like like an elephant in the room. People don't talk about feeding dogs actual livestock, and I know there's a lot of dogs that do.
Well, I mean, if you watch your dog in nature, if you let the chickens run loose, odds are your dog is going to go after them, right? Because that's their instinctual nature. That's how they would normally eat. And so, the rabbits, the squirrels, everything that our dogs want to go after, if they were left to their own devices and could catch them, because I know a few dogs that can catch some squirrels, they would eat the whole thing. And the fur would actually act as, which is something that is totally missing from all of our dogs' diets. This is going to sound so gross, but I actually buy rabbit ears that still have the fur on them. And that's what I give my dogs as a treat, because the fur not only helps clean and almost acts as like a little brush against the teeth, but it also is a brush down the entire GI tract, right? So it's sloughing all of that stuff out, because that would be something that would be natural. And so fur is really important. And livestock, I mean, they're naturally balanced. That's how the dogs would normally eat in the wild. So what we've tried to do is, or what we're trying to do now in the pet food industry, and when I say we, I don't mean Bow Wow Labs, I mean we in the nutrition sector of it, is there's some companies out there that are really trying to mimic as closely as possible that diet as it would be in nature. And so I haven't heard of anyone that's putting in the fur. And so the problem is when people start thinking about beaks and claws, they're like, oh, but those are byproducts. Well, tracheas are byproducts, right? If you really think about it in the world of food, they're all byproducts. And byproducts on their own are not something that you want, but when they're in combination with balanced protein and the bones and the organs, that actually becomes a complete meal as a dog would eat in the wild. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now we're looking at raw foods, and the commercial raw, you have there's two types of foods out there. You have raw HPP and you have non-HPP. So HPP actually stands for high pressure pasteurization. What that means is that it's a kill step to kill the pathogenic, the bad bacteria that's in the raw food, so that it can then go to a store and, quote, be more safe for the dogs. When they kill pathogenic bacteria or the bad bacteria, they're also killing the good bacteria. So as far as I'm concerned, you're feeding your dog a more processed food. You think you're buying them raw, you think you're buying them something that's less processed, and it's even more processed because of the kill step. So non-HPP foods, I'm a big fan of that are raw because they're having that bacteria. Their bodies are designed, they have like a 1.2 to 2.0 pH level in their stomach. It's like carb battery acid that they can deal with the pathogenic bacteria as long as they are not completely immunocompromised. And the other asterisk to that would be if you are in a household with someone that has an compromised immune system, you need to be very careful about having raw around. You need to sanitize, obviously, as if you were like in a commercial kitchen, so you don't make the human in the house sick either. But that is the best way to feed. And so to go even one step further, now you have the animals that are being raised for raw food versus like hunted raw food. And so obviously hunted raw food is not something that you're going to find on the commercial market. But if you're doing it on your own, and you can,
that would be so awesome if you did, though.
It would be, because, and I'll tell you why, because the animals would be, their physique would be natural. They would be eating their natural diet. So they would have less fat, right? They would be as they should versus the farmed animals. And I'm not saying this of all farms, but most farms are feeding them meal, right? That is designed to plump them up.
Right.
So you're creating now a different balance of macronutrients of the protein versus the fat, you know, versus the carbs that are in those animals. And as I was saying to you over the weekend, Toriano, it's not only that you are what you eat, but you are what you eat and what they eat. So if you're feeding a chicken that has been fed insects, that's going to be a better diet than a chicken that's been feeding on soy products.
Right.
So there's so many levels that you can go so far down that rabbit hole, that this is why it's so confusing to consumers and why their heads spin and they're like, dog, what do I do? And so the best answer that I can give to someone in a general capacity, because I do a lot of one-on-ones with people, but the best general answer is do the best that you can within your financial means. Look at the ingredients on the packages. If it's a dry kibble, if it's a raw, if it's a freeze dried, make sure animal protein, animal organs are in the first 5 to 7 ingredients. Look at the guaranteed analysis. Make certain that the protein, you know, is closer to 40% or more. Which if you're in raw food, you're obviously well over that in a raw food land. And canned food, if you have a choice and you can't do raw and you can't do home cooked and you can't afford freeze dried, you're better off feeding a high quality canned food than you are a kibble.
And you know, you made me just think of something too, because we do raw. We use a fabulous supplement I've used for the last 18 years called NuPro, which has over 52 vitamins and minerals in it. I mixed it with oatmeal, goat milk. In our dogs, that's what I've been using. But we've even seen, when you talk about you are what you eat and what they eat, even with the chicken now, I mean, there's certain, we see these chicken thighs that are literally the size of like dinner plates, these chicken quarters, that the dog stomachs are reacting. And this is us going to the butcher, buying human grade product and feeding to the dog. So, I mean, I very seldom, I stopped eating meat since December. So, but I can definitely, which I see a change in the dogs. So if it's affecting the dogs, obviously it's affecting the humans in a lot of different ways, which I think a lot of times people say, which I was saying earlier, people say that I don't even eat like that myself. You know, I'm not going to go spend, because you, for sure, easily, would you agree, Johnna, that you could easily spend $300 per month on a premium diet for your dog?
Depending on the weight, it could be even more than that. Depending on the size
say for like my Rottweiler.
Yes, absolutely.
For a Rottweiler, an adult Rottweiler.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, to that point, I also say to people, you know, how do you want to spend your money? Do you want to spend your money at feeding your dog a premium food that's going to make them healthy and make them happy and make them, you know, avoid going to the doctor? Or do you want to spend your money going to the doctor because they're sick in which case you buy medications, and you could drop $300 in one visit. So if you're dropping $300 in one visit, and it's usually more than that,
for sure,
and it's an ongoing issue, you're spending well beyond $3,600 a year potentially. So how do you want to spend your money? The only time my dogs ever go to the vet is when I bring them there for their yearly checkup, and I do that just because I want to look at their blood every year. I want to make certain, because that's the best indicator besides what comes out of both ends, right? God forbid if they throw up, it's telling you what's going on, and what comes out of in their stool, that's the best way of me identifying what's going on with their health besides their blood levels. So it's really how do you want to spend your money? And
we talked about pet tummies a little while ago, a couple episodes ago, a company called Animal Biomine, about how dogs are having all these just different digestive problems, which led us into talking about dog foods, because a lot of times you go to the vet and I have clients that come here with bags of stuff saying that the dog has to take this, he has to take this, and he can't eat this. The dog with all these just different things, and it ultimately comes down to the dog food. But that goes back to education of what an animal should be eating, but then that ultimately goes back to what we as humans should be eating, because it's really definitely difficult to talk to someone about, read the first 5 ingredients, which is, we're dog nerds, we know that, so we're looking at the back of the bag and like, okay, I tell people, if you can't pronounce the first 5 things, don't get it. That's the rule of thumb, but
well, even if you can pronounce them, you can pronounce corn, you can pronounce brown rice. That's not how you feed a carnivore. And so it's thinking about the ingredients, and most people don't know. But that's why I say it should be coming from animal meat, right?
And then too with that too, I mean, for the person that's going to, and when we brought up in the last episode, where people are going to, Walmart and they're buying Old Roy, which first 5 ingredients is everything that you don't. I mean, you're not going to ever feed your dog Old Roy. I'm not going to feed my dog Old Roy. I mean, one, just the poop massacre alone is going to be crazy. I mean, they're going to be pooping all day, every day,
And that's a really important point, and that most people don't really understand. That when you have a dog that defecates multiple times throughout the day and has very large poops, you're paying for food that's going right through their plumbing system. If the dog has large stool and many movements throughout the day and large stools at each time, basically their body is not absorbing the nutrients from the food. So the money that you're paying to buy this food, you're basically just using to fertilize the ground. My dogs eat a very specific diet that I prepare for them. And I have an 88-pound pit bull who really has, not to be gross here, but poops maybe twice a day. And it might be the size of a clementine. His body is utilizing all of the nutrients of the food that I am putting in his body, which is one of the reasons why he's so healthy. My little girl, the same exact thing. So, it's an indicator that your dog isn't getting out of the food what you think they are. And oftentimes by upgrading to a food, and if all you can afford is Old Roy, I'm not going to sit here and judge you. I love the fact that you've given a dog a home. You can feed the best that you can, and then just add, like Tammy was saying, add some fresh food whenever you can to just get them some nutrients that are in a whole form and not necessarily from a synthetic vitamin, right? Because our bodies respond differently to nutrients or vitamins that come from, and trace minerals that come from real food versus from a synthetic vitamin. So take whatever steps you can, though I really do think in the way that all of our spending habits are, you could probably spend an extra $10 a month and get to a slightly better food. And then once you start seeing how, your dog's skin is responding and they have a healthier coat and they have more energy, suddenly you start realizing that, maybe I should spend another $10 a month on this food because I didn't have to go to the vet last month because he wasn't itching, or he didn't have an ear infection, or he didn't have something. Food really is, food is our medicine.
I love that.
And so
food is our medicine.
Yeah. And so especially with the canine body that really is so effective at healing itself. So with all of these GI issues that are going on, I mean, there's so many factors. I mean, it's even, where is the water coming from? You know, is it well water? Is it town water? Does the town water have the fluoride? And obviously it's a fluoride. Does it have chlorine in it? Those are all things that are going to directly impact the health of the animal. Then you're talking about the food. We're talking about, you know, environmental toxins, pesticides, the glyphosate from Roundup, like all of this plays a role in our animals' health. So if we can, in any capacity, feed them better and help their immune system be stronger and help them be in better health, then we're all going to be happier for it.
Ms. Devereaux, you are amazing. Let me ask you this. So I know that it's a real thing because I tell people, you do that thing over there. I do dog training. I'm a professional. I've been doing it for 20 plus years, you know. So this person over here is a groomer. There's specific things and ways to even groom a short hair dog. You do pet nutrition. Can people call you up for consultations? Do you do Zoom calls if people want to find out how they can better their pets?
Well, so I was until I started working with Bow Wow Labs, and that's taken up a lot of time. But what I have been doing with Bow Wow Labs is writing blogs. It's on our website, bowwowlabs.com. It's their Wags to Wellness newsletter that I write blogs. And if they want to reach out and have questions, they can always reach out to me through Bow Wow Labs, and I will help as best I can.
And is that just
because that's what I love to do, right? If I can't help a dog, then what am I doing? So if I can help to as much as I can.
Because you and I, we've talked so much before this. I had to get off because I could have kept on the phone forever, talking about just. I mean, we could go into chewing, stomachs, hunting for food, raw food.
It's a very deep rabbit hole that we could go down.
Nutrients. I mean, and this is amazing too because all this stuff is new over the last 18 years. That doesn't just the technology in which you can feed the dog has completely changed. But would you like encourage people to? It's kind of a loaded question because I'm saying that yes, you should, but just maybe some encouragement where a person should seek out a local pet nutritionist and talk to them. I mean, here in Chicago, we have Liz's Pet Food. I don't know anyone that knows. I mean, Liz is the ultimate pet food nerd. I mean, she on her spare time, there's not a manufacturing plant she probably has not gone to. Like she's in the vats looking in, and she knows more. But what's something that you can encourage someone wherever they are around the world, to all our listeners and viewers, as far as just seeking out a pet nutritionist? Like that's a real thing, you know, to educate yourself on what your pet is eating. Yeah,
I mean, you'd have to Google us, I guess. Maybe not a pet nutritionist, but there are a lot of really informed and really passionate independent pet food pet store owners out there. That, you know, the boutique shops, the mom and pop shops that I was talking about earlier. You know, that's they live, eat, and breathe all things dog related. So they do have a really good basis foundation of nutrition. They may not have a certification, right? But it's a good starting point. And if you need, because I will tell you this. Thousands of dogs that I've helped with and done consultations with their owners. And the majority of them just needed small tweaks, just needed small changes. There are quite a few that I helped that the vets had kind of shook, you know, their heads were shaking because they didn't know what else to do, and going back to basics and just working with some nutrition and working with some herbs, because I'm also an herbalist, we were able to help get the body to heal itself. But again, just go to your local independent pet store and just say, you know, your dog, what they're eating and what you're trying to accomplish, and they should be able to at least start you down that path. And then if you need more extensive help, most pet store owners know of someone that a nutritionist that they can refer you to.
Because I would say that's a real thing. And just in closing, I want to say that for everyone out there, get a nutritionist for yourself. I mean, I had to hire someone. I was not the best eater. It actually wasn't until I went to Jamaica on this last minute trip in December where a person told me, like, you can increase your performance by changing your diet. It was someone I didn't even know. Just like, out of the clear blue told me this. Literally, I was walking down the street. This woman told me this, like, you're not in shape. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Damn. Like, welcome to Jamaica. Like, she
Yeah,
said
right?
it just
Me
that.
too.
I didn't even notice. And then it made me, this person started breaking down nutrition and eating in the harms of meat. And Tammy, I know you're going on your whole cycle. You've given up on you haven't eaten meat.
I didn't give up on meat. I just don't eat red meat and pork. I still eat fish and chicken. So I eat seafood and chicken, but no red meat and pork, because that's what I rely on to get my source of protein. But yeah, I don't eat red meat and pork. I haven't. It'll be 3 years in September.
Yay!
Oh my goodness.
No, I just want to close it saying that encouraging people to find out how food works, because a lot of people honestly don't understand. You know, I was joking about the Doritos, but some people honestly, don't understand how food works, especially right now in the days of COVID. I mean, in my opinion,
Us too.
Yeah, I mean, the days of COVID right now, the best prevention is really understanding what you're putting in your body and wellness. And then that will carry over to you wanting to make your pet eat better and be better by understanding nutrition as a whole.
Or vice versa. I will tell you this.
So many
I became a better eater once I went so far down the nutrition hole for dogs. It opened my eyes to things that I hadn't thought of for myself. And I want to eat healthier because I want to be around for my dogs.
I love that.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Your dogs made you eat better. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been an amazing. I can't believe we knocked out an hour like super fast.
Thank you, Johnna.
Thank you.
Johnna.
Yes.
Johnna.
Thank you.
Johnna, Devereaux. I gotta put you on the spot. Can we bring you back in January as a follow-up?
I love it. I would love it.
And then if anyone wants to find out about Bow Wow Lounge, where should they go?
BowWowLabs.com, or you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Bow Wow Labs.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was super informative. I want to thank everybody out there that tuned in all throughout Podbean, Wolfkeeper, Facebook and Instagram, to the whole Wolfkeeper pack, Rejoice, and everybody, Tammy Tam, to Chanelli Nail. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Go love somebody hard. There's only one alpha dog, and that's you, Toriano Sanzoni.
Peace, love, and blessings.
Yes. Everyone have a lovely day.
Peace and love. Thank you.